take away from it? From what we were doing like this?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think it's a weird one. If you watch college basketball, I give DU a lot of credit for the way they played in the second half and playing, 40 minutes. But in today's college basketball world, I think it's not just DU. I think that's what it is. It's college basketball is a 40-minute game, and that we've been saying that all year with our guys. Developing that consistency to, in the beginning of the year was don't fade away, stay in the game. We saw that, where we weren't good at that last year. Now it's to know the consistency of playing well for 40 minutes, and obviously we played really well in the first half, and you could see how far we've developed and the kind of team that I think those guys in that locker room know we are. But like I said to them, there's nothing less important in life than a halftime score in basketball. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, and hopefully that's what we take away from this. We take away that we've won 5 in a row. We know we're that kind of team. We built a 22-point lead. You can see the chemistry of our guys and the way they feel about our team. I take away that we've become that, and then I take away, we won that game. We won the game by having a good offensive possession. Our last possession was very similar to Tulsa. We won. We executed. Jake gets a layup out of our offense. Been great if it was a 3-point play. He goes and makes 2 big foul shots. We get the lead. We need to get a stop, and we play great defense to get that stop. That's called winning. And so that's an important experience to have. We've had that twice in 6 games. And now we've had this one where we play really well. To be honest, in some respects, I'm glad because we won, but I'm glad that we've had that experience because, through 6 games, we've had some really good experiences that we can learn from and grow from.
And, Jake mentioned, and he had said this when we talked to him on that day at the Center Gym, that he's played in front of sellout crowds in Indiana. He's been in big situations. And he mentioned that today. He said he's hit free throws late in games before when he's needed to.
Yep.
Did you kind of suspect with his mentality that he is a guy who can do that?
He's a basketball player. He's a good basketball player. He's got a good sense. He's going to keep getting better and better. I mean, I know the kind of player he is, and I had him in there at the end. I think somebody might have said, "Hey, do you want to get somebody in, for Jake defense?" I'm like, "No, I want him out there because I know when the games are on the line, right? He's a basketball player, and guys like that, players, games are on the line. They just sort of they step up. They do the right things. They make the right plays, and sometimes they do it in ways where they're not the ones getting the layup or going to the line. They were the ones that made the play that helped their teammate do that. So, I have tons of confidence in him, and I know he's got confidence himself, and that confidence is just going to keep growing here as we go through the season.
And when a guy like AJ is as hot as he is early, obviously he became their focal point. Do you try to scheme a little more to get him the ball, or?
Well, I think what we didn't do well in the second half was, again, adjusting to the fact that, okay, well, they're going to make an adjustment. They went to face guarding AJ, playing, say, Ethan harder. And, give them credit, it had its effect on us. What it did was it sort of slowed down. We weren't nowhere near as crisp. That ball didn't move as much. We weren't cutting as hard. The ball stuck in guys' hands. And we're not the kind of team that's going to do well if the ball sticks in our guys' hands. We need to be the kind of team that ball's always moving. It doesn't matter if it's Nick Jackson at the top of the key and you can't hold, you got to move that basketball. Joe, you can't hold the ball. When those guys move that ball, that's when you actually see Joe Octave getting those drives and they're finishing. When the ball doesn't move like that, they're so much harder, and we're just not as good. Their defense did that to us. So hopefully we can learn from that because, you go through a season, teams they're gonna do that. The thing for me that I'm happy about is that chemistry with Ethan and AJ and the chemistry, how those guys are playing. AJ's embraced sort of that role, why we did it this way, and you saw that. You've seen it over the last 3 games. I didn't know if that would come that quickly, but it has. But now, as it has, well, this is what you then deal with after that comes with, and hopefully we can learn that from this game.
What was that first half like for you to have that kind of hot hand going?
My teammates were just finding me, and I would just try to reward them by hitting the open shot. I mean, it was all fun. I mean, as the game progressed, though, it started to get a little bit chippier as they started to fight back and claw back. So we really had to just band together towards the end.
I mean, with as much basketball as you've played, do you feel that when it's happening and you're like, man, I need the ball more and more?
Not just. I know when they're starting to get their runs, and they start to feel good. So I mean, not per se get the ball more, but just try to play better defense together and collectively, and just try to work the offense as one. Because once we all work together, it's kind of hard to just guard just one person.
Yeah. And then, what went on in the second half? You know, when obviously you were being face guarded and kind of taken out of things, but you know, when the team's kind of on its heels like that, what's that feel like, and what was it like in the huddle over there?
It was just we just try to just figure out like what's not working, what's not working. But I think at the end of the day, it was just we just had to stay together, and I think we started to kind of go away from that as they got their runs. We know that we just had to start talking to each other, communicate a lot more. That's what we were doing every time we went to the huddle. Just we know that it's gonna come down to the wire, but we just don't know when. Maybe it might come down with a minute left, 2 minutes left, last shot like that one. We just had to band together and just take the challenge of that one-on-one defense, which they had good guards that can play that.
And do you sense a calmness in Jake Highbretter, like when he's going to the line?
I wasn't worried. I knew he was gonna make that. I mean, anybody that stepped up to the line, I'm not worried that they're gonna knock down those shots. And it's a big shot, but it's just like a regular shot at the end of the day too.
But free throws have been an issue for you guys.
Right.
You're 3 of 8 before you knock those down. You still have that confidence?
Still, 100%. I don't worry about what happened in the past. If I walk up to the line, I know he's gonna hit those shots.
And you know, knowing now that you have hindsight, you know you guys won the game. Is there maybe even more value in the second half going that way, that you guys have seen that, you survived it, and you still walked away with the win?
It's definitely better to learn on this side. I was talking to Nick about it. It was definitely better to learn winning than from losing. So, yeah, we got the win barely, but we still have a lot of mistakes that we got to clean up for the second half so we can keep that momentum we had in the first half all the way through the game.
Cool. You getting excited? I mean, 5-1 now, 5 in a row. I mean, this is...
It's good. Yes, sir. We just got to keep going. Next game is a big game, too. Every game we just got to treat it like that.
Just like being in the moment in the game. So just stepping on the free throw line, I just knew I had to make both either way, no matter what the score was. So that was just my thought process going into that.
Now, you told me a few weeks ago you played in front of sellout crowds in high school,
Yeah.
in Indiana. Is that something that you think contributes to not having nerves?
Yeah, I've definitely been in situations like that before. So just Indiana basketball is obviously unique in its own way, and just having crowds like that and having a good crowd tonight here at home, I think that factored in too, and just stepping up and just making sure I made them.
How good did that feel to give that to the team? You know, because you guys needed something, and to be
No, it felt great. Just make sure I was making both, and because we struggled a little bit from the line tonight, but second half obviously wasn't pretty, but just making sure to finish it out and get the win.
Yeah, and does this still feel like a normal win? You know, when you have to go through that to earn it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit unusual just by the second half being so ugly, but the win's a win, so either way, whether it's by 20 or by 1 point, it's a win. So.
And can you remember any specific times where you've had to knock down free throws to earn a win in the last minute?
Yeah, actually, I had one my sophomore year. We ended up not winning because they hit a buzzer beater, but we were down by 3 in the sectional semifinals. It was like a sellout crowd in Seymour Gym, which is in Indiana. It's one of the biggest high school gyms in the country. So I got fouled on a 3. We were down 3 with like 10 seconds left, and I made my first one or first 2, and then they called a timeout to try to ice me. I made the third just to get it tied, and then obviously they came down and hit a buzzer beater, but it was like a situation like that.
Did your mind flash back to that at all tonight, or was it just...
No, honestly, no. I was just so focused in the game and making sure we get the win.